This is what she does always when I start filming. It's very distracting. Say hello to the people. Say hello. Don't act like you're going to just sit here and be innocent. Because some rides... Oh, what's that? And order and leave. Oh. Ah! Mimi! Why does it always rain on me? Mini's now turned off. We've lost batteries, okay? Hi lovelies, welcome to today's video, which is all about planning a Disney World holiday. I know in the title it might just say Disney, I don't know, but this is going to be mainly focused on Disney World in Florida. If you would like me to do like a planning for Disneyland Paris type video, definitely let me know, and that is something I will definitely think about doing. Just a little introduction to me. Maybe this is the first video you found of me, or maybe you just don't know all of this info that I'm about to share with you, but basically this is my Disney CV for like how I know this information, because I think if you're watching this and you've been to the parks 10 more times than me, I don't know, maybe you won't feel the need to watch it. So this is where all of my information is coming from, is my experience. That's all I can talk from, is my own experience. So the first Disney park I ever went to was Disney World in Florida in 2012, which was me and my boyfriend, and we were celebrating our 21st birthdays. That's what we decided to do for our 21st birthdays. Extravagant, I know, but we'd always wanted to go, and so yeah, we went for our 21st birthdays. We went for 2 weeks. We went in September and we stayed in a lovely 4 or 5 star random hotel on International Drive, and had the time of our lives. Next we went to Disneyland Paris in 2015, which was for our 10-year anniversary, and we went there not as a Disney trip. We actually went to Paris for our anniversary, but obviously had to make time for Disney, and I had never been to Disneyland Paris before. My partner had been when he was little but didn't really remember it. So we went back and we spent 2 days there at Disney, and again had a lovely time, but we stayed in Paris, and the holiday was mainly about sightseeing in Paris. Then we went back to Disney World. I'm like losing track of what came first. We went back to Disney World. I'm realising that this is Disney World Paris, Disney World Paris. Yeah, we went back to Disney World in Florida in 2016, and we went for 2 weeks in September again, but this time was our first time staying at a Disney resort. We actually stayed at the Caribbean Beach Resort, which we absolutely adored. It was before all of the renovations happened, so it was just a dream come true to stay there. And yeah, we had the most amazing time. We then went to Disneyland Paris again in 2017 in December, which is because I really wanted to see Christmas at Disney. I'm a massive Christmas fiend, and I had never seen the parks at Christmas time, and that was just on my bucket list of life. So we went and we experienced it. We went for 4 or 5 days, and we actually stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, which is absolutely incredible. It was actually like probably my highlight of the whole trip was the hotel. I just felt like a princess. It was amazing. And then now, we are going to Disney World again in Florida in September for 2 weeks, and we're actually staying at our bucket list hotel, which is Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is so cute, because when we first decided we were going to go in 2012, when we were just babies, I got all the brochures and I was looking online and I was like, this is the one. I weren't looking at prices because that's just the way I am. And I got so carried away, and I made this whole pitch ready for when my boyfriend got home, and I was like, this is the hotel, this is where we need to stay. and it was Animal Kingdom Lodge, and it was just way out of our budget. But now it's in our budget and we're going to stay there, and I can't, it's just like we've come full circle. I can't believe it. So yeah, so that's the experience I have. Some off-site, some on-site, short trips, long trips, but mainly for Disney World we've gone for 2 weeks every single time, and we've always gone in September. That's just because we have no commitment of like kids and school holidays, and also with work it's very flexible. So we've decided we always just go in September, mainly because number one, it's cheapest. I think it's fairly cheap, like it's thousands more if you go like in August in comparison to September. But also just when we first went, we did a lot of like research and then chatting to travel agents about what the weather was like and what the crowds were like, and it's quite quiet. This time I'm not expecting it to be, because we've just found out that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is coming. Which is insane. I'm trying to just stay positive and be really excited about the fact that we're going to be there for such a like historical event. It's going to be like monumental. But I can't deny I'm scared about how big the crowds are going to be. So yeah, and then we loved it, and we've just gone back in September every time. I think if we ever went again, I would love to try a different time of year, but this time, yeah, we're going in September. So that's kind of my qualifications on making this video, and like where my point of view will be coming from. So I decided to make this video for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because a lot of you guys asked for it on my Insta stories. So on my Insta stories I did kind of a what videos would you like to see, what would you like to see more of, less of, and a lot of people wanted Disney videos, but specifically I had a lot of people asking me for like Disney planning, like anyway, and I totally get that, because there is so much that goes into planning a Disney World holiday, because there is just so much to see and do and eat and watch and live through. There's just so much there, so I totally get why people would want it, because it's so overwhelming. Also because at the start of this year I really got into the meat of planning our holiday, because it was coming round to the time to book dining reservations and stuff like that, which I'll talk about more in this video. But also my brother and his girlfriend are going to Disney World for the very first time, and they turned to me for help with their planning because it's so overwhelming, and I was obviously happy to help, and I went round there with this 10-metre piece of paper where I'd written everything out by hand and did basically a presentation for them on how to plan and what we were going to do first. And yeah, so I've kind of planned two simultaneously, and slightly different because they were in a totally different time period. They were really coming up close to their holiday when they wanted me to start doing all this stuff, whereas we are ages away still. So yeah, it was two very different experiences, but it's kind of made me realise that I do have this like formula for planning my Disney trips, and it seems to work. It worked for me, it worked for them, it's worked for me multiple times now, so I wanted to share that because it's something that has really helped us and them, so maybe it'll help you too. So this video isn't going to be about the booking of the holiday. It's not going to be about like how to choose what hotel to pick, how to choose all that kind of stuff. I have done a video like that before, which is called Things to Consider Before You Book Disney. But if you want me to do a whole planning video on like who to book with, what hotel to choose, etc, etc, I basically did all of that kind of info with my brother as well. Like when he first was thinking of booking, I sent him over like a million pages of stuff I'd written out on how to choose all of those things. So if you want that video, I can definitely do that for you. This video though is going to be from the point of booking. So you've booked your Disney holiday, what now? I'm going to help you with what now. I'm sorry if this feels like it might be a bit jumbled. I feel like it feels like that for me, and I say that because I've literally filmed this video 6 times now, and it just went wrong in so many different ways that we're not going to go into. We're moving on from that. We've let that go. But because I want to help people who are doing this for the first time, and people who maybe have done it a couple times like me and just want extra help, or people that have done it once but years ago, I want to kind of help as many people as I can. So it might seem a bit jumbled because I might have to give versions of things you know, for like if you have no clue or if you have some idea of what you want to do. So just to put that as a warning before we go into this. The first thing I always do is I put together a rough idea of what parks I want to go to on what days. So the way I actually do it, and this is important and I'll explain why, is that I do day 1, day 2, day 3, blah 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 blah, all the way to normally day 15, because we have 14 nights, so we normally get 15 days. I then put the day of the week next to what day of the week that date will be, and the date. Now those are important, not to just do day 1 for example, but to do the day of the week is important because different parks might have different opening hours on different days. And the date is important because special events might happen and you might have planned to go to a park and get kicked out early, which actually happened to us in 2016, and I was really sad because on the last day we went to Magic Kingdom and I really wanted our last Disney moment to be me watching the fireworks with my boyfriend, and we got kicked out at like, I don't know, what was it, 7 p.m. Because it was Not So Scary Halloween party, so which we had no idea about because I didn't do my planning. So this is why planning is so important, and that's not going to be the last time I say this in this video. Write down the days and then write a rough idea of where you want to go on what days. You don't know where to start at all because like I said, you've never been, or you went ages ago, or you just like you've been before and you didn't do much planning and you'd really like to this time. I always recommend Magic Kingdom for your first full day, not the day that you're travelling, but for your first full day. And the reason I recommend that is because I just think it's the most Disney magic park. If you're a person that is going to Disney but isn't so like into all the magic of it, maybe not, but I am, and I just think, you know, with the castle, that first moment when you walk around the corner and see the castle, you can't beat that as a Disney moment. And then you've got the fireworks and the parades, and just the atmosphere is just very Disney. And I think for your first full day to kick off your holiday, Magic Kingdom is a beauty. And then for the second day, I just recommend going to your favourite park, and if that was Magic Kingdom, go to your next favourite park. We both are obsessed with Animal Kingdom. Every time I'm there, I feel like I'm in a different world. The theming is so amazing. We're both huge animal lovers as well, and so it just really is for us, Animal Kingdom. And again, if you have absolutely no idea what your favourite park is, I would recommend going on the app, which is the My Disney Experience app, or going on the Disney World website and just looking through, like, you know, you can filter really well on their website. Filter down to, like, if you like big rides, big thrills, put it in, it will tell you where all of them are, where the most are, and that might determine it. Or if you really want to meet a specific character, put that in and find where they are and go to that park. Or if you absolutely love parades or anything, you know, it's going to totally depend on you and your preferences and your party's preferences, you know, who you're going with. But that's a good way to figure out kind of what you like, what you don't like, is just to filter through stuff. And if you just want to see it all and you don't know, then maybe take my recommendation and go to Animal Kingdom next. I don't know, but that's just what we always do. This was the difference between my trip and planning my brother and his girlfriend's trip. They were close enough when I went round there to help them. They were close enough that they had all of their opening times when they were planning this day by day. They'd done no planning in terms of like what to do and where to go on what days when I went round there, and I had their opening times, so I kind of based it off of that. So that's another way you could choose what day to go on. I looked for what's the longest opening time, go to that park on that day, because you're going to have more time. Because I think if you haven't been before, like they haven't, you think, oh yeah, well we'll just run from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and get everything done. Realistically, you're going to need some downtime in the day, some rest time. Like, it just, unless you're a seasoned pro and you've been there a million times, maybe you don't, but you might need rest time, downtime, you know, moments where you're not on a ride or watching something, or, you know, or any of that. You might just be sitting somewhere with an ice cream, and that's not stuff you can plan, but it's stuff that you'll probably need. You know, it's very hot in Florida, and it's just intense. There's a lot of walking, there's a lot to see and do. It's very much sensory overload. So definitely make sure you're aware of that you'll need that time. Therefore, if you have a park with longer opening hours and that's the one you're going to, you're more likely to still get everything done with enough rest time than a park that's not open half as long. So opening times can be a great way to determine where you go on what day, and also extra magic hours. And if you don't know what that is, Disney resort guests get extra magic hours. That was a tongue twister. Disney resort guests. You get extra magic hours, which is that either in the morning or in the evening you get time in the parks that non-resort guests don't get. So they're either cleared out or they're not allowed in, and you're allowed in, and you get a couple of hours or an hour to enjoy the parks just with other resort guests, so it's a lot quieter. So that's another way you can do it, which I think I did for our 2016 trip. I planned around extra magic hours. Whatever park had extra magic hours, we went to on that day. A lot of blogs from people and vlogs from people that have been there a lot more than me also suggest that maybe if you've been a lot or you really don't like crowds, maybe actually going to parks that don't have extra magic hours, because I think from all of their research it seems that the park that has extra magic hours is busier even with guests that can't use extra magic hours. It just seems to be a way that people determine what park to go to. So maybe also that could determine it in the way that maybe you want to avoid that. Next, I would suggest going through the app again or the website and going, so say you've done day one Magic Kingdom, go to Magic Kingdom and look through everything that there is to offer. This is especially if you're a total newbie. Write down or jot down, or I think you can also like heart on the app. You can like heart things and it saves them. You know, it's like a little heart and you click on it like you're liking it, and it like saves them, and that's a great way to basically have a list of what you really want to do. So if you go through and you see a ride and you read the description of the ride because you've never been and you don't know anything about it, then that's a great way to figure out what you will like and not like. I personally like to hand write it out. That's honestly just my preference. I have always preferred handwriting things in order for it to get in my head more and for me to remember it more, and also I don't know why, but when I read it back over, like I've literally got my Disney planner here today, which has been slightly ruined by my cats. Look how gross that is. Thanks, cats. I like to write things down, and I just wrote down like any ride, attraction, character meet, parade, show that was on at the different parks that I really wanted to see and do. Also, a really great way to get this information for yourself is to watch vlogs and read blogs, because like I said, there's people out there that literally live right next door and go there every day, or have been there a million times and know a lot more than I do. And also, not even for that reason, but even if your favourite vlogger or favourite YouTuber also does some Disney vlogs every now and then, like moi, then watch those, because you'll get to see like real live footage of the rides and reviews that they give about the food that they're eating or the shows that they're seeing, etc, etc. And that's a great way for you to see it in real life, kind of, you know, see it happening rather than just a picture of the ride on the app, and know if that's something you're going to want to do. So now you have your little list of days and what parks, and you have your little lists for each park of what you really think you'll like to do or see. And I know this seems really over the top, and I think it really felt that way to my brother and his girlfriend when I went round there with my big presentation. They were like, are you serious? But the thing is it seems like a lot. It's not, you know, writing all of this stuff down won't take very long really, and I mean, it can if you want to be really detailed like I am, but if you don't, then it won't take that long. But it just gives you a better idea of what you like, what you don't like, because when you walk into the park and you have absolutely no idea, like we did back in 2012, it's so overwhelming, and it also means that you miss out on more because you don't know like where you want to go, where things are, what things you like. So you're just kind of wandering around like aimlessly, like, oh, what's this? Do we like it? Will we enjoy it? I don't know. And that can be quite daunting and also mean that you miss out on things. Sometime wandering aimlessly around Disney is lovely, but not the whole holiday, I don't think. Let's face it, if you've come to this video, you want to see some planning tips, so that's what I'm giving you. We're planning here, okay? When you've got your little lists of rides and attractions and things you'd like to see and do, go through and star, like I have, or I don't know, if you've saved them on the app, maybe jot them down somewhere else, your absolute priorities. Like maybe pick like 5 things that are your absolute priorities for that park when you go, because realistically you are not going to get everything done. I don't think people can tell you that enough when you go to Disney, but it's very, very true. You can't do it all in a trip unless you were there for like 5 months. There's just too much to see and do. So definitely I think that's a great way to not have as much disappointment and also get done the things that you really, really, really want to get done. And this next tip is especially important for if you are a first time goer or total newbie to all of this Disney planning malarkey. I would have a look at the maps. Again, you can find them on the website or on the app. I personally find them really easy. You can zoom right in on stuff or zoom right out and see where stuff is. You can also filter like what is shown up with a little highlight on there, whether it be restaurants or attractions or characters, as you can filter stuff out. This is just important to do to get an idea of if any of your priorities are in the same sort of area, which will be important in the next section of this video. But yeah, it's just a good idea to get to grips with where sort of stuff is in the parks and what kind of route, you know, people take around the park. I just think if you've got no idea, that's just a really great way to familiarise yourself with where things are in relation to them, but especially your priorities. So this next section is about fast passes, which is what I do next. So fast passes, if you don't know, are basically a way to get on the rides a lot faster. If you are a Disney Resort guest, and if you're not a Disney Resort guest but you've bought Disney tickets in advance, I can't speak, like I said, I can only speak from my experience, and I only know about non-Disney Resort guests because of my brother's trip. Half of their party are staying away from Disney, and they still get free fast passes. So you get 3 fast passes for each day of your holiday. And if you are a Disney Resort guest, you get to book your fast passes 60 days in advance, so 60 days before you go. And if you are a non-Disney Resort guest, you get to book them 30 days before. And in 2012, I don't even know if there was a fast pass system, but we certainly didn't use it. But in 2016, I really tried my best to do it, but I learned from a lot of my own mistakes once we got there. It was my first time using the fast pass system. So I just literally booked our like favourite top 3 things, but that wasn't necessarily the smartest way to use the fast pass system or the best for us. I'll go into that now. Also, once you're there on the day, once you've used your free fast passes, so say you've used all 3, you've done all those 3 rides, you can then book new fast passes one at a time. So when you get a fast pass, it's an hour slot, so it's, I'm pretty sure it's an hour. It's like, so say you've booked one for 10 to 11, and then the next ride 11 to 12, and the next ride 12 to 1. You've gone on all of them. You can now book a new ride for 2 PM, say. You go on the ride, and then as soon as you're off, you can book another one. And we also didn't know that when we went in 2016, which is why we kind of did what we did and made mistakes, because we had no idea. We just thought those are the top 3 and they're the only ones we're going to get on quickly, but that wasn't the case, which I'll explain. First of all, I'd look at what rides you can fast pass, and I mean that because I think that absolutely everything can be fast passed, and it actually can't. And this was important even for me this time, because for example, the first time we used it in 2016, I did fast pass the parade because the parade really means a lot to me, and so I fast passed it because I really wanted to make sure we had a great space to watch the parade. And this year I don't think we can. It's not on there as an option to fast pass the parade, so it's just a good idea to familiarise yourself with what can and can't be fast passed. Definitely check if your priorities can be fast passed. So the major mistake we made in 2016 was we went through, and I discussed it with my boyfriend, and we decided on 3 things for Magic Kingdom on day 1. And we didn't even think this through, but the 3 things were here, here and here in the park, like every corner of the park, as far away as you could get. And we booked them too close together, so we were literally rushing from one to the other after also a breakfast that we'd booked. So it was just manic, and we didn't really feel like we got to take in a lot of the Disney magic or a lot of the atmosphere of the different lands, because we were just rushing to our next fast pass. So this time, especially because I have health issues, I do use a wheelchair sometimes. I have lupus, which affects all of my joints, muscles and organs and everything else in my body. So it makes my ability to walk very difficult, and my ability to stand in long queues basically nil. So the walking killed me off that year. So this time I've tried to book fast passes strategically based on, like I said, vlogs and blogs from people who know more than I do about what rides you really need to fast pass and what rides you can most definitely get on the day, because some rides you'll be able to get until closing, like on the fast pass, but some rides they'll all sell out, so by the time you get there, like, you know, like the bigger rides like the Mountain, Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Thunder Mountain, stuff like that, the more popular rides, you won't be able to get a same day fast pass. Peter Pan's Flight is another one, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. If you want me to do a whole video on fast passes, let me know and I will. But yeah, so this time I've tried to strategically book ones that I know I won't be able to get on the day, and also that are quite nearby or have longer amount of time between them, so that I have enough time to walk from land to land or be pushed in my wheelchair. My poor boyfriend. A big recommendation I've found online from everything I've done of research is to try and book your fast passes kind of before 2 or 3 p.m. so all 3 of them before 2 or 3 p.m. because then you've got more of a chance to get more done in terms of fast passing on the day as you go along, and in terms of like rides and stuff, you've got more of a chance to do more and see more using fast passes if you book before that time. And now you've got your day-to-day, what park we're going to on what day, you've got your list of things you really want to do for each park and your priorities highlighted, and now you've got your fast passes. So pick your 3, use my tips if you want, or don't if you really think that you can handle the running around the park, or the if something's really important to you but you could still book it same day, because I did that actually. I booked like a couple of character meet and greets with my fast passes because I really wanted to do them, and like I said, the parade when really I didn't need to, but it was important to me and it meant that I got to do it. So just do whatever you want, but now you should have your list of 3 fast passes per day for each park. Now you've got your 3 fast passes, we're going to move on to dining. So I know this might seem like I've done it backwards, but it's the way that I do it, basically just because I think unless you're going to book like a restaurant for every hour of the day whilst you're there, your rides will kind of more determine where you are in the park at what times, I think, with your fast passes. And also just because we prioritise rides because we love all the rides, so again, it will depend on you. But let me explain the Disney dining reservations and the way it works and what it is. So if you are a Disney resort guest, you get to book Disney dining reservations 180 days before you go, but it's actually this year only for 10 days, your first 10 days of your trip. And then what I had to do was on the next day after I'd booked them, I had to book the next day and then do it for the last 4 days, day by day, which is really annoying, and I'm sure I didn't have to do that in 2016. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. But yeah, so basically, say on the Monday was the 180 days, I booked my first 10 days, and then on Tuesday I had to book the 11th day, on Wednesday I had to book the 12th day, on Thursday I had to book the 13th day, like that. Very odd, very confusing, very annoying, but yeah. Dining reservations go live at 7 AM EST time, which I think in the UK was, it was 11 or 12. I can't remember off the top of my head. I just googled it though, and I was ready on the dot, and that's important, and I'll go into that more. But yeah, you can book for most places to eat, to be fair. Obviously a lot of quick service places you can't, because they're quick serve, you'll just come in and order and leave. But a lot of places you can book in advance, and I would definitely recommend using that. It's a great tool and a great perk that you get, because a lot of the places are crazy busy. This was the other thing we had problems with, was like, it got to the point where we were starving hungry, wandering around the parks, and everywhere's got really long queues and I can't wait in them, and oh, it just was a nightmare. That actually happened on our very first night in our 2016 trip. We hadn't booked anywhere for dinner. We'd booked breakfast and lunch, hadn't booked anywhere for dinner, and then there was this torrential storm, and everyone was in every restaurant, and we literally could not get anywhere. We just couldn't. We ended up having to go back to our hotel with our tail between our legs and eat a pizza at the hotel, which was very sad. So yeah, just know that I do actually think the dining reservations are important, especially again if you have any health issues like me. I find that your meal times are a great way to get rest and get downtime and get out of the heat and get out of the crowds and the madness, but whilst also not feeling like you're wasting time, because I get very like that in Disney. I'm like, I don't want to waste any time, every moment's important, there's so much to do. But that's a great way, you know, you're not wasting your time because you're eating, that's important. But if you're at a table service restaurant and you're having a big meal, you know, it takes time. You're not going to be in and out in 10 minutes. And that's a great way to get some recuperation whilst eating. If you've got no idea about where you want to eat, what you want to book, what you want to do, definitely do what I suggested for the fast passes. Same again, and for the rides, same again. Go on the app, go on the website, filter to restaurants for that park, and just go through them. I literally, this might seem crazy to some people, but I literally went through every restaurant one by one and looked at the menus and then noted them down, like, oh, that sounds like something we'd like, noted that down, noted where it was in the park. For instance, like in Magic Kingdom, you know, there's the different lands, noted which land it was in. And then when it came to wanting to book, I was like, oh, we could go there, and that also meant that we weren't having like burger and chips twice, or pizza twice, or Chinese twice, or, you know, anything twice, Mexican twice. It meant that, because I don't really like to do that, I like to have different meals, so I deliberately try and book and plan to eat different foods for each mealtime. Definitely utilise the Disney dining reservations if you're interested in character dining, which I personally love. I've only done character breakfasts. This time I booked even more character breakfasts because I just really loved them. They're some of my favourite memories. And again, if you would like me to do a whole video on dining reservations and what restaurants I recommend and what we've booked, then let me know and I will. And again, like I said, I have watched a lot of vlogs, a lot of videos, and read a lot of blogs and articles about places to eat at Disney, just looking up what people recommend as the best places. And a lot of people kind of have the same like 10 recommendations in their recommendations of what they like. Obviously it depends on what food you like, and that's another thing. My brother's girlfriend has like allergies, intolerances, so they're having to look up restaurants that do that, and you can do that again on the app. So, and you can also find a lot of information online about where to eat in Disney with allergies or intolerances. But just get an idea of restaurants you think, oh, that looks really lovely, and again, jot them down. So now you've got another new group of food you'd like to eat, you've got rides you'd like to do, shows you'd like to see, what park, what days, and now you've got your what I'd like to eat. Again, I would highlight what your main priorities are, because if you like the sound of 10 different restaurants at Magic Kingdom, you might not be able to do them all. Maybe you will, but you might not be able to do them all in one day. So definitely put a star next to what your absolute faves are. Like, for instance, I think we've planned 2 full days at Magic Kingdom, and then we'll probably end up popping in there at different times, but 2 full days. So if you think about it, well, if you're having breakfast, lunch and dinner there, then that's 6 meals, isn't it? But we're like as many as you think based on your new lovely plan you've done of days, how many meals you'll be eating there. Like, maybe choose that many priorities, so you know then those are the ones to choose from. Going through and writing down what restaurants you like the idea of is also important, not just for booking dining, but also for, again, when you're in the parks, you can look back at your little list, or on the app where you've hearted it or whatever, you can look back and go, oh, I really like the look of this, it's here, let's go there now. You know, there's a lot of times where you'll be like, oh, we've got a fast pass and then we've got this or whatever, we've got some time to eat, I'm hungry, are you hungry, yeah, cool, let's find somewhere. And then you're like, oh, because there's like hundreds of places to eat, and it's overwhelming again, and you don't know where things are, and it can be messy. And you need your fuel on a holiday like Florida as well. You definitely need to be eating, so make sure yeah, if you've got them written down, it's easy because you can look at your little list and go, that's there, and especially if you've written what land it's in, you can go, oh, it's right nearby, let's go to that and eat what you like. It's really the worst, especially, we're not particularly fussy eaters, but especially if you were a fussy eater, I can't imagine how stressful it would be going into every restaurant and looking at the menu and going, nope, and then going to somewhere else, because, you know, it's a lot of walking, like I said. So it just makes it a bit easier for you. Have your little idea of where you'd like to eat. So now I would go back to maps again, and like I said, I would compare your now list of fast passes with restaurants you like and go, oh, we'll be there at 12ish, because that's what we've planned for our fast passes. We've thought, oh, we'll do that about 12ish. We'll be there, and right next door is Be Our Guest, so let's have lunch there after that ride. Perfect. It kind of all comes together once you've got these little lists. I've found it's just what I've found, and it works for me, and it worked for who I've given advice to. So yeah, definitely go and look at the maps and see what's near each other, what's not near each other, and you'll end up with like a mini, like I just said, a rough plan that kind of forms itself. So what I tend to do is have the first half of the day pretty scheduled, and then the rest of the day not so much. Maybe I'll have a dinner reservation, but that'll be it. So I normally plan like breakfast, and even if I'm not booking a breakfast, I'll still jot down where I'd like to have breakfast. Often it'll be at our hotel, so say hotel breakfast, and then fast pass to meet a character at 10, fast pass to meet to go on a ride at 11, and then fast pass at 12, and then lunch at 1, and then kind of after that you've not got anything necessarily booked, maybe dinner, but that'll be hours away. You kind of end up, it sounds like so much planning, but really it's not going to make your day too rigid. You're going to end up with a lot of time in between that's really, really free, especially if you go on your first ride with your fast pass at 10 on the dot. The next one, if it's 12 till 1, you don't have to go on till 1. That's loads of time in between where you can go, that ride's only got 20 minutes, we'll jump on that. That ride's only got 10 minutes, we'll jump on that, as an example. So now you've got a little structure for your day. The next thing you want to do is prepare for that 180 day mark. And you might be watching this and you might be past that. Maybe you didn't know, like my brother and his girlfriend, or maybe you did know but you just didn't know what to book or whatever. I don't know what the case might be for you, but say your 180 days is coming up. That's the first thing, other than the holiday, that you really like book. So let's talk about that. Because you want to be ready on the dot when it opens up, and I know that sounds crazy maybe, but the first time in 2016, I think I was doing something, and then so I got on there a little bit later, not like even hours later, but a little bit later, and already some reservations had gone for some restaurants. You can't underestimate these Disney fans. You also can't underestimate like how many people are there each day and how many reservations a restaurant can realistically have. So they do get very, very busy. You do need to book some restaurants on that 180 day mark before in order to get what you want. And this I think is perfect because I did this exact plan from start to finish for me, and my 180 days has just gone, and I got every single thing I wanted for dining and on the exact times that I wanted, that I'd planned. And I've obviously did the same thing, like I said, for my brother, and they've got everything they wanted as well. So listen, I think it works. It's worked for us. I hope it works for you. But what I did was I wrote down, again, I wrote it out. Maybe you just want to put it on your phone somewhere, I don't know, or on your laptop or whatever. I wrote down my dining reservations day by day, so not including any of the other information because that can be distracting, and on the moment when you're booking them you want to just be able to look at it and go, yes, that time done, that at that time done. So I wrote day by day. Day 1, I don't know, breakfast at Crystal Palace, lunch at Be Our Guest, dinner at Tony's, just as an example. Just 3 restaurants off the top of my head. And then day 2, maybe you're at Animal Kingdom and you're going to eat at Yak and Yeti, and that's your only reservation, fine. Day 3, dinner at Ohana's, whatever. You've got your list, but then I would rewrite that list. And I know this sounds like really faffy, but I would rewrite that list in terms of priority for which restaurants you really, really want to book. Like, so for me, my top 3 restaurants that were my must-dos, or top 4 that I can now think of off the top of my head, were breakfast at Crystal Palace with Winnie the Pooh, because it was such a dream the last time. Ohana's was our best dining experience ever, and we've never stopped talking about it. Sci-Fi Diner at Hollywood Studios we absolutely loved, and Be Our Guest because it's just amazing in there. So say those are our top 4 restaurants. I wrote them in order of priority, and I didn't book them on the day in order of day by day, because I've done that before. And say I want to do Ohana's on my last day or on the 10th day, and I'm there booking and I'm going through all the different days. All that time you're taking to get up to that point, someone's already booked it. And that's what I found. So this time I did it in priority, and I booked Ohana's first because that was our number 1. And like I said, I got every single one that I wanted, and sometimes it works in your favour because I think a lot of people probably do it day by day, and if you jump to day 10 and jump back, you're going to be missing a lot of the flow of what I think people will book in terms of. So yeah, book in terms of priority on the day, not in terms of day by day. Now you've got your Disney dining reservations. Your next thing to book will be your fast passes, which is 60 days before, and I'm not at that point yet, but I am going to, and I did this for my brothers and it worked out. They got everything that they wanted. I wrote down all of the fast passes: day 1 this and this, day 2 this and this, day 3 this and this, and then I wrote in order of priority, and they went through on the time and booked it, and they got every single thing. They said they couldn't believe it. They got every single thing that I'd suggested and at the exact times I'd written down. So it worked, and that's exactly how I'm going to do it for fast passes as well. So again, 60 or 30 days before, be on there bang on time and do your first priorities first. Don't worry about going day by day. Unless obviously your first fast pass on your first day is your top priority, then that works out fine. Just quickly, also with the fast passes, Magic Kingdom is just 3 fast passes for the whole park, but I think every other park now is 2 tiers, and you get some rides in one tier and some rides in another tier, and you can only book 1 ride from tier 1 and 2 rides from tier 2 for each day, and that's something to look online and familiarise yourself before your 60-day point, because that can be very confusing, because you might have written down your top priorities as being 3 rides that are in tier 1, and sadly you can't do that. So you have to have 1 from one and 2 from another. So again, that's important. That's why it's important to look through what you can actually fast pass beforehand. Next, I would go through on the app and add in anything to my itinerary that you can't necessarily fast pass or book, but that is important. So I've added in fireworks and parades on Magic Kingdom days. And that just means that when you look at your plan for the day on your app, when you've logged in, it shows you like fast pass at this time, fast pass at this time, then a parade, then lunch, then a fast pass, and then dinner, and then fireworks. And then you're like, oh, that's our day. And there's loads of time in between, because let's face it, sometimes the parks are open from 8 AM till midnight. So you've got so much time. It sounds like so much planning, and like all day you'll be like, what's next, but you're really not. The app definitely helps and makes it really easy. Magic bands make everything so easy, so don't worry about if this is going to make your holiday too rigid. For us it didn't anyway. So yeah, just add anything else in that you'd really like to do. It's just a great way to see it there and imagine okay, so we've got that much time in between, and on the day when you're there it's really great because you can check back on the app and go, oh, I forgot that the parade's in 20 minutes, let's go. And it's just great to have the things you really want to do in front of your eyes. My top tips to finish this video. Number 1, don't plan too many late nights followed by early mornings. It's just not realistic. If you're out till midnight and then look, by the time you get home, so that takes half an hour for you to get back to your hotel, I don't know, and then you want to shower and go to bed, then if you want to plan to be up at 6 AM, you might be able to do that once, you know, go to bed late, get up early once or twice. It obviously depends on you as well. Like I said, I am a very unwell person, so I know for sure I can't do that the whole way through. I could probably do it once in the holiday, but definitely not the like day after day after day. And I don't think anyone could, because even back in 2012 when I was at the peak of my health and fitness, I could not do it. I couldn't wake up in the mornings. I was exhausted, and when you're exhausted, it's going to make you in a bad mood, and you do not want to be in a bad mood in Disney. So make sure you get your rest and don't plan that. I've actually deliberately planned, like if I've got a late night, we're going to have a later morning, and that's fine. in theme with that, plan in rest time and downtime. And what I mean by that is deliberately, like I just said, so if you know you're going to be out really late, plan the next day. So the next day, okay, is our Disney Springs day, for example, or we'll plan in a water park day because those don't open till 10. You know, that's a bit of a lie-in for us compared to a 6 a.m. start of Magic Kingdom. So plan in rest that way, because then also when you're there, it doesn't feel like you're missing out on anything or like you're wasting any time. So definitely make sure you plan in rest time and downtime for yourself, because I can't explain to you how exhausting the holiday really will be. Another note-taking tip, but make sure you take some time to note down places where you can get drinks or snacks, because again, it means you're never going to be just aimlessly searching for it, wandering around getting more tired and more thirsty. If you've noted down places where you can just grab a drink, or you like the look of like novelty stuff, like obviously the Dole Whip is hugely popular, which is on my bucket list because I haven't tried it still. I forgot to last time, we just didn't end up going there, but I need to this time. It's just good to be able to go, oh, we can go there for that now and not wander around and get lost. So time to have snacks like ice creams and drinks is a great way to also get downtime and rest time whilst not feeling like you're wasting time. You know, sitting back on a bench in the sun with an ice cream is lovely, and it doesn't feel the same as just kind of sitting there waiting to get your energy back. Fail to prepare and you prepare to fail. Seriously, that is so relevant when it comes to Disney holidays, because some planning I think just really helps the holiday along, because there's just too much to see and do, and you will end up overwhelmed and stressed and confused. And if you've got a little bit of structure, it's easy to follow and your days will just run more smoothly, and you're more likely to get everything done that you want to get done. And again, just to add in, again, to drill it home to you, be realistic about what you can and can't get done. You will not do it all, and that's okay. And just have your priorities and know what you really, really want to get done, and you'll have the best holiday ever. That's it, I am done. I feel like this video is going to be about 5 hours long. I'm sorry if it is too long for some people, but there's a lot of ground to cover. I hope it was helpful, and please, if you have any other tips that you'd like to add in terms of planning and what I've covered today, leave them in the comments, because I'm sure they'll help other people. Please, if you enjoyed this video or did find it useful, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing so much more Disney content now, well, this whole year, because I'm planning a trip this year, and then afterwards I'll be doing vlogs and lookbooks and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely more Disney content, so subscribe if you're into that, and I hope you're all having a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.